day, I'm going to be covering how we prune roses here at Sweet Earth. A few notes before we get started. First, you'll notice that I am in full rose pruning gear. And by that I mean I've got some long gloves. These are leather gloves. You want to be sure you have some thick gloves, leather on both sides preferably, long sleeves, long pants, boots, and even a hat, because you don't want those thorns pricking you in the head when you're in there trying to trim some stems or getting tangled in your hair. I also have with me loppers, some pruners, my Felco number 2s, some alcohol, and a bucket. Now, both of these pruners are important. The lopper are for some thick branches, or if you want to get deep down in without having to really get too close into the center of the shrub. What I like about these as well is that they extend and allows you to either get in deep or up high. Now, it's important to clean your pruners and your loppers, which is why I have the alcohol. You don't want to introduce any bacteria or fungal issues via the pruners or loppers, and you certainly want to be sure you clean your pruners and loppers in between pruning of each plant so that you're not transferring any potential for disease or fungal issues from plant to plant. And the bucket is just to collect the stems as you prune them. So it is early spring. We are in the middle of April here, and I prune my roses when evening temperatures are above 40 degrees consistently. You don't want to risk exposing the new cut to frost or freeze or disease. So now we're ready to prune our roses. This is one of my shrub roses, and it is a little over 5 feet tall. I will be taking this down to about 1/3 of its size. And my first step is to really observe the plant and see if there are any dead, diseased, or dying stems. Those are the triple Ds, and those would be the ones I would prune out first. And if you see here, there is this plant, this stem here, that looks like it's got some fungal issues. It's got some dieback right here, so I'm going to be pruning out some of those dead branches there. And the object is to create kind of an open basket area here in the center so that the stems can grow out and upward. I'm also going to be pruning out any stems that are crossing over each other, again because you want to prevent any area where that can introduce some disease or fungal issues. You really want good airflow and separation between the stems. So here we go. So as I mentioned, I'm going to be removing these dead and older stems from the center here. So I'm going to come right in, and before I cut, I observe the stem and where it goes up to make sure that there's not any new growth growing from it. And if so, do I still want to cut this stem? But I can see that this one is completely dead, so I'm going to be cutting it down right at a juncture where a healthy stem is starting to grow. So I've taken this dead out, and I will be cutting this down into pieces to make it easier to carry out in my bucket. When you are making your cut, in addition to making an angled cut, you want to be sure that you cut right above a leaf node as well. Once you're done pruning your rose bush, you want to be sure you clean up all of your broken branches and stems, and also wipe away all of the leaf litter surrounding the base of your plant. These are wintered over leaves or some of the rose leaves that have fallen. That's another way that disease can be introduced to the plant, and also bugs like to live under this leaf litter. So we want to prevent any opportunity for this shrub to be infested by pests or have any disease introduced to it. So you would be making sure that the area is clean around the base of the plant, and any leaves that have fallen into the middle are cleared away. So now I've finished pruning one rose bush. I'm going to move on to the next, but before I do so, I'm going to be sure I clean my lopper and my pruner with some rubbing alcohol.